say. This is Radio Free Cybertron, episode 835, and yes, I did check to make sure that was the correct number this week. I'm Chris because Brian Kilby is somewhere out in that strange, wide world. I say that because I don't actually remember why he's not here this week. I just know he's not. So,
taking his birthday off, isn't it?
Is it his birthday?
Last week was his birthday.
It's a birthday. It's a birthday adjacent.
Yeah.
He went and saw Rise of the Beasts on his birthday.
That's right.
Oh, jeez.
That's right. And we didn't wish him a happy birthday because there was no possible way that it could be after that.
It's
anyway,
a good
birthday,
movie.
So somewhere in all that mess was Diecast, Matt, Headmaster Don, and Rob, who are all here as usual. You can figure out who's who.
We're here. We're confused. It's time to podcast.
Yeah. That's gonna be a candidate episode title. Here we're confused. It's time to podcast. I'm sorry, I can't really type and talk at the same time like Kilby can. I can't multitask quite that much. All right. We'll see if we come up with anything better than that during the course of the show. But that's a strong opener, so you're going to be hard pressed to top that, you guys. So we're going to jump right in with some breaking leaks from JT Prime. These were posted just about half an hour before pre-show started. So we were having a good time in the Discord server, tfradio.net/Discord, talking about these in advance of the show, trying to think about what might be going on with some of these. So what we have is 4 listings for Legacy Universe, which is the 2024 line, and 2 Studio Series listings. So from Legacy, we've got Deluxe Cybertron Hotshot, which, if you're keeping track, will be the 3rd Unicron Trilogy Hotshot in generation since the reboot for War for Cybertron. Because we had the Select Cybertron Defense-based one, which was the retooled Pound. Just this past year, we got proper Armada Hotshot, and so this will be the 2nd Cybertron one, presumably based on the sports car model. We also have Rock 3, which, as we talked about last week, we now know actually is Rock Lords.
It's so strange.
It really is. We have a package refresh of Strongarm. So Strongarm is going to be late in this year's product line for its first run. We think that's probably why it's getting the package refresh, because it's going to be an end-of-line toy, and they want to make sure that it has time to cycle out there.
I'm excited about her because she was actually a Wave 1 toy of
Robots in Disguise.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And
I'm excited because it's a female with an original body type.
Yeah, she was such a weak figure, but had the potential to be really good.
I mean, it wasn't terrible. It was a little bit mediocre. I mean, it was very competent for what it needed to be. But yeah, like, that line got so much better as it went along. It really is a shame that, like, the important show characters came in the first wave, because of course they did, and missed out on those advances. I feel the same way about Steeljaw from Robots in Disguise, which is not, unfortunately, a segue into one of the later listings, but just a very valid point here that Diecast brought up. Like, there's characters that never got a second pass, and all they really have to represent themselves right now is really lackluster toys. And I love the Robots in Disguise Warrior line based on what it became later on. But like, I love the whole thing because I know that part is there. I still have to love the earlier toys, even despite that. So the last Legacy leak is a leader class Soundwave.
That's surprising.
Yeah, so I mean, there's the outside possibility this could be the Unicron Trilogy Soundwave, the stealth jet from Cybertron. I would really more suspect it's just G1 Soundwave with, a couple cassettes again.
Yeah, I seem to recall them saying they'd like to take another stab at Soundwave.
Evan said in one of the live streams, if they ever did Soundwave for Studio Series, he would want to completely redo it from the ground up to make it be the right relative scale and everything. That could still have happened ending up in Legacy. But, since it is Legacy, it's not as clear cut whether that's going to be G1 Soundwave or not. I'm assuming so.
Yeah.
The other off the wall wacky possibility would be Machine Wars Soundwave, and it's a double dealer retool after 5 years. Or however long.
Yeah.
Or,
I mean,
At least then we could get a stalker.
yeah, Don.
I mean, if they can reuse that Soundwave mold now that they have in Shattered Glass, it may just be the Voyager Plus kind of thing that they're calling a leader, because it's him and a more accurate paint job and a couple of cassettes, like some of the folks were mentioning in the Discord at tfradio.net/Discord.
Yeah, I mean, whatever this is, I really, really hope it's going to finally come with a buzzsaw.
Yeah.
We've been kind of lacking that since Siege.
Yeah, I mean, I want like buzzsaw, but I also like Slugfest, Overkill, and then the combining cassettes, Squawk Talk and Beast Box, just to get some variety out there.
Well, Don, you can get the Doctor Wu ones, and that's a perfectly valid substitute, right?
Well, I've got them. I do have those, and
Yeah.
I have a Hank, which is odd because I closed the door to the basement.
Did you make sure he wasn't in the basement first?
Yes.
Did you make really sure? Because cats, I'm not sure if you're aware of this, Don. Cats are really good at hiding.
He's usually scared of the basement generally because it's a lot of strange sounds and things going on.
He's trying to better himself and confront his problems.
Okay, so
are the strange sounds from the people locked in the basement, or
no? Diecast, that's at your house.
Yes. No, this is the no, it's like washing machine, dryer, hot water heater kicking on, anything like that.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see what the Soundwave is going to turn into, just because there is so much possibility with it, including mold reuse. And if it is mold reuse, then Buzzsaw at least is a realistic possibility. I don't know they would necessarily tool up new cassettes for this.
Also, please, finally, a sound blaster that doesn't turn into an overpainted space slab.
Agreed.
I mean, if this is a new G1 Soundwave body, or even the old one, I feel like Sound Blaster's a pretty solid potential off of this. It's been a while since they've done any Sound Blaster. This has a good chance. It's time to do that again, basically, is what I'm getting at.
I mean, I could see it as a selects, absolutely.
We were talking about that in the Discord earlier, too, about, selects at leader class, and, there's not really a lot of those, because
very few.
My theory is Galactic Man Shockwave, which kind of underperformed, probably scared them off the idea of doing those, except in very, very particular cases.
Even for Transformers, that's a pretty super deep cut, though.
It really is. And Sound Blaster has been mainstreamed a little bit more in the last 15 years, just out of the necessity of doing something with Soundwave molds. But that's still a little on the obscure side, so I don't know if that would actually fit in a selects lineup. They'd have a probably better time convincing the stores to take that on than to try to sell it directly as a selects, I think. So for core class, we have in the studio series we have core class Age of Extinction Steeljaw. That is Lockdown's little Cyberwolf things that were running around his ship. Unfortunately, it is not the superior movie Steeljaw, which was the one Wrecker's pet robot bulldog. Which I'm not sure if that actually made it into the movie or was it just a toy line thing, but I wish it was that instead, because that was more entertaining. But then we got the big news here, which is Studio Series 86 Leader Class Springer.
Which has just got to be the Siege figure again, right?
I mean, no, I don't think Evan would let that stand.
It's a really good Springer.
It's a really good Springer. It's not particularly cartoon accurate, though.
That's not
because they slathered battle damage all over it.
I mean, okay, there's that, but Springer in the show is not that square looking.
That's not Springer. It was a Ringer.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how that looks, especially at the leader class.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, a leader class triple changer. We've been very tuned to what this is going to be. It's going to be Voyager height, a little bit more complexity, probably with some stupid accessory that doesn't make sense to anybody except for the designers. Hi guys. But like, I don't think we're gonna see just a reuse of the Siege toy at this point.
Yeah, I don't expect that.
If they were gonna do that for Studio Series 86, I really feel like they could probably still just sell that by itself as a Voyager with a clean deco, and throw that into like Buzzworthy or something.
Yeah, Buzzworthy or just a reissue in Universe.
Yeah, just Buzzworthy seems like the first stop place to put things like that they're trying to just reissues with a little bit better accurate decos and what have you. We've seen other stuff fall into that pattern, and Buzzworthy doesn't seem like it's going anywhere. Target wants all these exclusives for whatever reason, even though they have to like clearance half of them out. I don't really understand the logic of this, but I'm not going to complain either, is what it basically comes down to. So I think if we're seeing a Studio Series 86 Springer at the leader price point, Evan or someone decided, yes, we can do this again and do it better. Let's get this back out there in the format that we think the fans want.
And I think everybody should prepare for him not to have a lot. This is probably going to be, the price point is covering the engineering. And I don't think, other than his rotor blades, sword, his gun, he might come with the shell from the movie. But, like, I've got better things to do tonight than die. But I think this price point will be covering the engineering on the figure and not just a bunch of accessories.
I mean, Blitzwing still came with the the Zeong hands, and that's kind of my point. Like, we can't predict what the add-in accessory thing to help push that leader price point would be, because the thing with Blitzwing doesn't make any sense for Blitzwing. Like, the stuff is usually kind of off the wall. Even Shockwave way back in Siege, like, yes, when you see all that put together, that's a good spaceship. It's a good spaceship. But like, you wouldn't just expect out of hand Shockwave to come with all the like spaceship booster parts and for that to work. At least with Astrotrain, with the coal tender thing that turns into the launch pad, that makes logical sense with the vehicle mode, but that's like one of the only leader triple changer designs that you can really do something like that with. So yeah, I'm interested to see how that shakes out. And even if it is just Siege Springer again with a clean deco, I mean, I'm not going to complain about that too much, because they will put something in with it to pump that up to leader price point that point.
We lost Matt.
Yeah, hopefully he will be back shortly with us.
The only thing I really want to see the Springer do, one thing is a small, minor thing, but I hope they incorporate the pop-up arm blaster and that it's blast effect compatible, I should say. I just kind of really want that, because it's just, a neat thing that,
nice.
Just that little extra touch they can add in, where it just opens up, and then the blaster, like, you can push up on like primals for the Walmart primal, and then you can put a blast effect in, because it's like things like that, little touches like that, make me not hate paying that money for the figure if it's that accurate.
Yeah, I mean, that's with the Optimus Primal example, that is a key element of the original design. The arm would open up and the missile launcher would pop out, and it was replicated in the show to an extent. The Kingdom interpretation of that was kind of puny, but like, it's definitely something they could fit in there if they think that it's important to the character and they have the engineering overhead left to actually work that in. With a triple changer, I'm a little less confident that could be the case, but like, yeah, Studio Series 86 thing, it's a notable scene for Springer, so like, I could see that being something that's at least on their list to try to work in. One of the other wackier suggestions from the Discord conversation earlier was, what if this is a retool of Leader Class Sandstorm? What if it's a Sandstorm retool again, like in 2014?
Could be.
I can't really see how a cartoon accurate Sandstorm would turn into a cartoon accurate Springer, but like, it would be funny if they tried.
Yeah.
I think one of the accessories that he could come with, if he is Voyager size, to fill in that leader price point, is a stand. It would make sense for him for helicopter mode. I think they could do that relatively cheap and throw that in at the leader price point if it is Voyager size with additional engineering.
Yeah, like some kind of accessories that you could assemble together that would function as a stand.
Yeah.
They would have to do something else too. I don't think they would just sell it with a stand, but if it could work that way, that would be good too. Wheeljack64 says, "I've got better things to do tonight than buy."
Fair.
Don gave that one his thumbs up. I kind of figured. All right, Matt, do you have anything more to add on the Springer conversation?
No.
Okay,
Good.
cool. All right, so moving back to what was previously our top story for this week, from Licensing Expo 2023, which is going on right now, Casey Collins, the Hasbro president of Licensed Consumer Products, spoke and said, "We will start by celebrating the landmark 40th anniversary of Transformers by providing our licensees with 3D files of the original G1 toys for the first time ever." So, what this very much sounds like is they're going to provide design data to licensees who, I guess, would want to produce their own reissues, essentially, of G1 toys. Now, whether that is something that's going to permit them to make actual transforming toys based on the originals, or if it's just going to be like, we will give you these 3D design files. If you want to make robot toys that look exactly like the G1 toys, you can use that for this. Because, of course, Hasbro has been kind of cautious about allowing licensees to actually make transforming toys. But, with the new leadership at Hasbro, that criteria may have changed also. It's a very interesting concept. They also add that their partners will be able to reissue original licensed products and what they call reimagined innovations, leveraging the authentic vintage artwork from the G1 toy line of Marvel Comics. That I'm kind of interpreting like, if you want to make reproductions of like vintage lunchboxes and things like that, that will be on the table too. And then finally, pulling it all together, we're digitally releasing the 80s animated TV series soundtrack with an exciting bonus track that taps into nostalgia and recreates the excitement, tone, and pop culture moments of 1984.
Sweet.
Yeah.
I am all about that. Give me that soundtrack.
Uh-huh. Yeah, not on vinyl this time, apparently.
No,
So
digitally, but
yeah,
that's fine. It's whatever.
I'm good with that. I'm
Yeah.
good with that.
Also, hopefully, since it is digital, we'll get the whole thing. And
Yeah.
honestly, if there's other outtakes like that weird version of the intro that is on that LP, I'd be happy to have those too. But
Yeah, really.
just this is something that I know has been in the works for probably over a decade. So it's just nice to see this. Like, hopefully, the entire soundtrack actually get out to the public finally.
Yeah. I'm just really fan if they are looking to let licensees basically, lease the rights to make reproduction G1 toys because Hasbro don't want to do it themselves forever. It's I think that is actually a plausible thing. And like they might not have 3D files necessarily for like the Lost mold, like Sunstreaker or Mirage. But if they did, and someone wanted to actually go the time and investment of producing molds with those 3D files to make those toys available again, ain't nobody gonna complain about that.
No.
I mean, it's a great way to keep, reissue stuff on shelf while minimizing risk to themselves, their own bottom line.
Yeah, I mean, Walmart, from all indications, is being a great partner with them right now for getting more and more of the retro G1 stuff out. But the more hands that can be involved in this, the more widely spread the coverage can be. That's good for everybody up until the stuff doesn't sell and 5 or 6 licensees go out of business from investing too much in it.
But that's not Hasbro's problem.
Not immediately, no. But yeah, I don't know how much there is to throw around about this one, but it was super interesting to me when this was pointed out, and this was pointed out to me over our Discord. So once again, tfradio.net/discord. We've got a great bunch of members. Most weeks when they see stuff that looks interesting, especially when it's show day, they will throw stuff at us to try to make sure that we're up to speed on stuff and getting things covered. Manny Caro even had thrown the Rocket League thing, which we'll be talking about a little bit later, to make sure we saw that. So like, I'm super appreciative of our whole Discord crowd. I encourage everybody to sign up, come join us, hang out. Great place to talk Transformers and all kinds of other stuff. And I will tell you in advance that this coming week in our spoiler channel, there's going to probably be a fair bit of Star Trek conversation because Strange New World is about to start back up, and
Tomorrow.
you're
as
not
of
gonna
time of
keep my
recording.
mouth shut about that.
Hmm.
And I hope others will be joining me. This topic we might get a little bit more conversation out of. Skybound and Image Comics get the Transformers and G.I. Joe licenses. This had been rumored quite a while back. This is the first time we've had official confirmation of it, and their first comic with Transformers and G.I. Joe in it is out today. Void Rivals #1 features, to some capacity, the Transformers and G.I. Joe. It's not a Transformers and G.I. Joe book, as far as I understand, but there is some amount of Transformer and G.I. Joe content in there to basically, like, prime the pump, I guess. Transformers #1 itself will be out in October, written and drawn by Daniel Warren Johnson, who is, rather like Pat Lee, was a self-professed Transformers mega fan. Hopefully, this will turn out better than that did. The G.I. Joe books are going to be two of them, a Duke book and a Cobra Commander book at this point. Those will launch in December and January. Both are written by Joshua Williamson, with art by Tom Riley and Andrea Milana, respectively. Yeah, I'm really not sure, now that it is like the confirmed reality, what to think of, an Image co-produced Transformers comic book.
I don't think I've ever read an Image comic book. I know nothing about Robert Kirkman or Skybound, and I'm unfamiliar with any of these creative teams, so I really don't know what to expect.
Yeah, I mean, in one sense, it's actually quite exciting because it is, all new, fresh perspectives, fresh takes, fresh blood into the franchise. On the other hand, I don't know either what these people's pedigrees are. Especially on the art side for like drawing robots, because you're either really good at that or you're really not good at that, and there's not really much of a middle ground there. I'm assuming, because Daniel Warren Johnson has gotten this, that he's a proven quantity for like work in this area, and everybody involved has high confidence in him. So like, by all means, I cannot wait to see what comes of this. The G.I. Joe books, like, I don't really have much of a feeling on that. G.I. Joe fiction has never been one of my staples. But, we do have our G.I. Joe aficionado panel here, too. So, any thoughts on yet another reboot of G.I. Joe?
I mean, they needed to, so I'm cool with it.
Do you think they will eventually invite Larry Hama to come back and write a title again?
Probably not.
Okay, so he actually... Larry Hama has still been continuing Marvel G.I. Joe at IDW for many years now, and from what I've heard, he is going to be transferring over to Image and Skybound to keep doing that.
Oh, okay.
Then.
Like, G.I. Joe Real American Hero issue 301, I believe, is going to be coming out from Skybound, is what I heard. So, that's especially noteworthy because I believe the Marvel run ended like 153, something like that. So yeah, he's been doing this at IDW almost as long as he did at Marvel.
Damn.
So yeah, and to be honest, from what I saw, he did it the right way, which is he picked up where he left off instead of just doing a 20-year time jump. So that is out there.
Regeneration 1 had such possibilities to it, and then it just didn't work.
Yeah.
And that was a very big letdown for me.
Well, and like on the art side too, because like, no slight against the artist who actually did work on that to start with, but like when we saw in Robots in Disguise annual, the flashback that Guido did the art and coloring for in the period style, like when we heard about Regeneration 1, it's like, oh yeah, I mean that would be the perfect fit for this, and unfortunately that's not what they went with. Eventually Guido did take up some art duties on that title, but Guido being the like amazing machine of an artist that he is, like, just perfectly emulated the style of the book up to that point, which, hey, all for visual continuity, but, like, I really wish that just would have shaken out a different way from the start.
Yeah. As I recall, they started out with Andrew Wildman, who's I don't think, for one, I don't think anybody they had was quite as good an inker for Kim as who they had at Marvel.
Probably not, no.
Yeah, and also just, people's art styles change in 20 years. So
yeah, certainly.
Yeah, so, they if they pick up the work they used to do after 20 years, you're going to notice a difference. There's just no two ways around that.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And that Transformers comic I'm interested in because they're actually using like a G1 Skyfire in that. So I think that's like...
Yeah, that's the retailer incentive cover for Void Rivals #1, I think, right?
Yeah, yep.
Which, as I understand, is selling for hundreds of dollars, or, well, it's being sold for hundreds of dollars on eBay. I don't know if anyone is actually purchasing them yet, but it's like 1 per 100 issues of Void Rivals gets that Skyfire cover.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so you're never going to own one, Diecast.
Nope.
This is why you need to start a comic book shop. No, don't do that. That's a terrible idea. But yeah, that was quite a little bombshell in the last few days, especially since this comic book is actually coming out this week. It's in shops right now. The secret on this was kept so well. I'm like amazed that they managed to not get that spilled.
it is quite an accomplishment.
Uh-huh. All right, so up next is, I imagine, what Matt has been waiting for the last 36 or so hours. Buzzworthy Tuesday. So yesterday we had the official reveals of 3 Buzzworthy Bumblebee packs coming from Target sometime later this year. The afternoon before that, we had leaks from a Target inventory computer giving us our first look at these. So very short turnaround time on getting the official word on these. We're going to just start with the one that Matt is probably itching to have a comment about, which is the Troop Builder 4-pack. That includes a Quintesson Trooper, which is the Bailiff retool of the Alicon from the Pit of Judgment set. A G2 Cybertronian Trooper, a retool of Skullgrin. Animated Universe Auto Trooper, which is a retool of Siege Ironhide. And the Decepticon Seeker. Matt?
I actually hate this because now Hasbro knows exactly how stupid I am. I am going to have to buy so many of these packs. This is ridiculous. Why, Hasbro? Why are you doing this to me?
So, okay. When I first saw the first picture of this 4-pack, I had 2 immediate problems. The first was that I thought the Seeker in this was just a reissue of Thundercracker.
That's what I thought.
That was a widespread thought, yes.
Moreover, at very first, I briefly thought it was a reissue of Core Class Thundercracker. Because, like, a 4-pack, one of those Target 4-packs, you can't imagine 3 Deluxes and a Voyager, really, in today's economy. But then I look closer, it's like, oh, that is the Voyager, isn't it? Huh, that's something. But that's still just, they're giving me a Troop Builder pack with Thundercracker in it. Like, that's mean. That's really mean-spirited. As it turns out, this is actually a Lavender Seeker, and the color is just not coming through well in photography.
I don't know if they went full blown lavender with this one. That it might have a tinge more blue to it, but it is not Thundercracker. As soon as we got the official products, it was more clear that there was a color divergence.
And the leaker said too, like, it looks lavender on that PDA that he took the picture off of, and his camera just would not produce that color. So I really suspect this is one of those cases of digital color representation just not having quite the coverage to produce what this actually is. Because we saw the same thing happen with, like, Siege Thundercracker, actually. That was a weird turquoise shade, which does not exist in digital color. This lavender may not exist in digital color either, and this kind of off bluish is the closest thing that it can approximate to. That said, there are, in More Than Meets the Eye Part 2 or 3, background seekers, at least one in this basic blue-purple range like this. The most famous one is the Air Warriors, which had the BotCon 2003, something like that. The Heroes of Cybertron multi-pack, or the little PVC figures. Don, you probably remember this.
The one that were in
Those are
full-blown lavender color. Yeah.
Yeah, because the most famous background seeker is the purple seeker, which is quite purple. But in the same shot, there is one that's more to this blue shade, and I think they may have purposely leaned more in that direction.
Yeah, there was also a teal one, because my assumption was always that they took the lavender one and the teal one and kind of mashed them together, and that's where we got Slipstream.
Okay, yeah, that actually could very well be.
That makes sense.
Yeah, the color reminds me of what people usually call Hot Link. One of the Rainmakers. So that's what I'm getting, is they're generically saying it's Hot Link.
Yeah, and I think that's probably why this is leaning a little bit more toward the blue shade, so that it's specifically not Hot Link. Because, they took that color and made it into a character, basically, with some tweaks, I guess, but, they basically made the Purple Seeker be a dude. Some dude. This more bluish one is still a background character and troop buildable in that sense.
Yeah, but especially during the 3-parters, those purple ones were everywhere.
Yeah, they really were.
So it is an ideal troop builder. The thing that gets me about this pack is it is $77, $78?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Just the Voyager in there is almost half of the price, and there's 3 deluxes in this pack.
Uh-huh. Yeah, you're getting a free Voyager.
Yeah, the 3 deluxes would run you about that, so.
And additional heads. So you need at least 2 of these just to have a head for everyone. Or a body for every head.
Yeah, but when you buy that second one, then you have another set of heads. So you got to buy another one after that. And
no, because then you'll have even more.
See, what we've run into here is the hot dog and bun dilemma.
Mm-hmm.
I feel called out.
Okay, so I pre-ordered one of these right away, because of course I did, at full price. I'm going to buy more of these when Target starts discounting them.
Yeah.
I did not do a pre-order, but when the discount comes, I may have to do this. But because there is nothing about this set that I dislike. This is for really, really good molds. This is I like the decos. I like the alternate head sculpts. I am both simultaneously glad that they went with the Earthrise Seeker mold when technically the Siege Seeker mold might have made more sense, and I'm glad about that, despite the fact that it would have made more sense. Is where I'm going with that. Wow, brain.
Actually, no. The Earthrise one makes perfect sense because, like I said, those Purple Seekers were everywhere. They got Earth jet modes.
Yeah, they were on Earth.
But the thing that kills me is GX's troops. Who saw that coming?
Yes, that's something I want to talk about for a second, because this design team has really shown that they can make stuff look like stuff that we didn't know we wanted till we saw it. And seeing that Skullgrin as Giaxis's troops from the G2 comic absolutely blew me away, because it works.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just absolutely it's a shock that they went that deep of a cut and it looks this good from a mold a lot of people are kind of meh about.
I mean, I still think its vehicle mode is awful and missing half of what makes the vehicle mode work, but
But I mean, that is absolutely just, I was shocked. I mean, literally, I was shocked that, oh my God, why didn't we think about this? This works.
I never would have thought of this.
No, me either.
So I was angry at this set when I thought it came with a Thundercracker that, if you want to actually troop build the troop builders, you'd have to end up with a half a dozen Thundercrackers. Then when I found out it wasn't Thundercracker, I was more angry because I knew I was going to actually buy it.
But I mean, that was absolutely just... Because G-Axis, I think, in that price point, maybe the figure of the... Well, he was last year, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So okay, yeah, if he qualified for this year, he might have been the Voyager for the year just because of how accurate he is to coming off the comic book page, and that right there is just
No, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Is that a KISS player auto trooper?
That
It's
is
an
a KISS
animated
player auto. That is
Okay.
a KISS player and an animated auto trooper.
yeah, because they shared very similar body styles. So
They really didn't. The
I'm
KISS
trying to help.
The KISS player's auto trooper was a police car basically. The animated one was based on the Cybertron Ironhide body.
Yeah, I was trying to help.
So like this is labeled as the animated universe auto trooper. It's based on an Ironhide, so like that is correct. It does come with a KISS player style auto trooper head, which I have taken every opportunity to tell everybody who's on the fence about this that that's your officer's head, so you obviously need to have more than one.
That's the auto trooper commander.
Yeah.
The other ones are the troopers.
Now that said, this would not have been my first choice for an auto trooper toy. KISS players being what it is, we'll leave all that aside. I still like the concept of the auto troopers from there as just, the police car style generic Autobots.
Absolutely.
The anti-mold's a good mold. I'm kind of tired of it.
Fair.
But I mean, I'm still gonna get this. I'm still gonna, have some auto troopers off of this. It's not gonna stop me from, doing my homebrew auto troopers too, which so far has been Robots in Disguise, Stormjets, and Combiner Wars Rooks, as I've been able to get them. All those things basically fit the bill too. But like, I'm glad they leaned into the animated side of this, just so that like nobody can really accuse them that much of having impropriety of knowledge. Let's say.
Is it sad that the Quintesson Trooper is kind of the most unimpressive part of the set, but it's still great to get?
Whenever we got that the Pit of Judgment set, I mean that bailiff was not in the animation colors. This corrects that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I had always had the suspicion that they purposely chose a not cartoon accurate deco for the bailiff in that set, so that they would be able to release the cartoon colors version of it.
Absolutely. And I'm glad they did, because this freaking 4-pack is amazing.
I mean, there's the assumption of that intent. There's also that at the time that set was revealed, the first image search result for the Quintesson bailiff on Google Images was that fan recolored character model in the colors that Pit of Judgment version came out in. So little column A, little column B, I think. But yeah, like it's really good that retooling is getting out there again in a context that people have access to, at least people with a target, I guess. I assume there will be some distribution of this for Europe in a different retailer. I know that's kind of hit and miss sometimes. Hopefully it will not be like too much of a problem for our international friends to get hold of these.
From what I understand, most of the Target exclusive stuff here just goes to regular retail there.
Well, that would help, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to agree though. The Quintesson Trooper probably is the least interesting thing in this, but like, if something's got to be the boring also ran, you could do a lot worse.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I wasn't trying to put it down. It's just as shockingly, amazingly good this set is to be a troop builder set. That it's not a slight. It's just like it's expected, but the others all kind of aren't. So it's
pretty much.
Then there's the set we offloaded all of our disappointment onto.
You know what? I've actually come around on this set.
Really?
Tell me how that works.
Okay, so I was thinking to myself, I'm like, who is this set even for? And then I looked over on my shelf and saw that I have a Corpse of Optimus Prime from Amazon a couple of years ago, and I'm like, oh, this set is for me. So, and like one of the nitpicks I had about it last week, like it should have a port for a blast effect inside Prowl's chest. It does appear with better pictures that there is a port for a blast effect inside the battle damage on Prowl's chest.
Oh yeah, no, I mean that was visible in the first picture we got of that. I thought we actually had mentioned that.
It wasn't very visible to me. I didn't see it either. I didn't realize I agree with him, but it comes with blast effects, so you can actually
the Jetfire ones again.
Yeah, but they're purple now, so they kind of remind me of like Dark Energon, but yeah, you can actually put them on to where they're damaged. So I'm with Matt. I think now that I've seen better photos, I like this a little bit more. I still wish they would have did more with the heads.
Yeah, Ironhide also appears to have like a deeper recess in his chest to put like a larger blast effect in there. So
yeah,
I don't think the recess in Ironhide's chest is as deep as it looks, because think about how
deeper.
Yeah, I think that's still going to be pretty surface level, just because of the way the van parts have to fold up into the chest cavity and the head has to fit in there in vehicle mode.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a ton of depth that they can take advantage of there. The galling thing about this is that this Ironhide has the yellow stripe, and it has it exactly where I said they should put a yellow stripe when we first talked about Studio Series 86 Ironhide last year.
And they got rid of the clear plastic.
Yeah.
So, my morbid side convinced me to go ahead and buy this set.
I'm probably going to pass on this set, because like the 90% of these two toys that I really like is really offset by that 10% that's the battle damage part, which only really applies in one specific use case, and that's not working for me. If they want to come back around and do another Buzzworthy Bumblebee Studio Series 86 version of these two toys with these plastic choices, these colors,
which they really should consider, because like I said last week, that Amazon 2-pack of Prowl and Ironhide from a couple of years ago was not easy to come by, very rare, super expensive on the secondary market. People want Prowl and Ironhide, like
yeah,
it's worth another go, Hasbro. Like
yeah, there's definitely more money to be made here.
And
table.
if you want to
do that 5-pack we talked about last week with Barricade and Silverstreak, that idea is for free. You can have that one.
Don, go ahead.
Yeah, and if you want to be further depressed about this, with Studio Series Brawn and Ratchet coming out,
we could get another one.
We're going to do this again next year with another Death on the Shuttle set.
Yeah. And then also ran here is a reissue of Studio Series 07 Leader Class Grimlock.
Now, is this a straight re-release, or does this have better paint? Because it may have been a while since I've seen this figure, but when I saw the photos, I'm like, wow, that paint looks pretty good on this one. So I thought it was actually updated.
There was a release in Japan that had better paint.
Did it?
Yeah, there was a Japanese release. What I think they had in their premium line at the time as a more movie accurate paint release, but it was very limited. So I'm not sure if Takara is using that paint design for this release or if it is straight. That's what I wanted to know before I pre-ordered one.
Did the original version of this toy have a lot of like pale green dry brushing on it? Because that's what this looks like.
Yeah, I think it had the oxidized copper effect.
I can't remember. I gotta look it up or something, because I pre-ordered one just in case it did have updated paint. But if it doesn't, I'm gonna cancel it.
Right. That's the same way I was when Takara was doing their Legends line early on, and the Thrilling 30 RC mold was coming out for that, and we assumed at the time, because that came out after the SDCC Combiner Hunters set, we assumed that the mold from that point would have the 5mm compatible hands. So Rob and I both, I think, pre-ordered that Legends RC. I canceled mine when we found out it had the same old Hasbro hands on it as before. Because just the deco difference wasn't worth it to me.
I went for it because the deco difference was worth it to me, since it was at the time the only one that was actually accurate to the animation model in terms of paint. Little did I know,
Little did you know 10 years later.
I still have that I still have that one on my shelf. That's still my RC on the shelf. 10 years later. I just took a X-Acto knife and trimmed the extra part out of her hand so she could hold her weapons.
I did that with the right hand, yeah.
It does look different to me. It doesn't look like it has. Maybe it's just the photography.
It could be.
It doesn't look like it has as much of the dry brushing.
I mean, paint applications like that can vary pretty heavily from figure to figure anyway.
Yeah.
So
I'll put a link in the chat of the only one that I could actually find easily online, but it looks a little bit different. It's hard to.
I would assume, until someone actually tells us otherwise, that it's going to be the same as the previous release.
Yeah. Yeah, it's possible.
I need to idle for a second and order something, guys. I'll be back in a second.
All right, so we have some news from Tokyo Toy Show. That happened this past weekend. So from Takara Tomi's Twitter, this is in relation to this. They previewed Beast Wars vs. 05, Rat Trap vs. Pterosaur. The Rat Trap doesn't look particularly different from the versions we've gotten already. Like, it started out fairly show accurate. The Walmart Netflix version built on that a little bit. It didn't have a whole lot to do. And this looks, again, kind of like a lateral move from that. Pterosaur, on the other hand, is fairly different.
Yeah.
And makes a couple weird choices. Like the black.
Yeah, the black, and that gray probably should have been silver, shouldn't it?
It should have, yes. So actually, as we're talking right now, Hasbro is doing continuous streams of Beast Wars, Cyberverse, and maybe Robots in Disguise on their YouTube channel. So I've been watching a little bit of that, and yeah, Pterosaur is definitely not that like flat light gray like this toy has. There's definitely, it should have been silver, or at least like a darker gray color to kind of evoke the impression of silver.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this doesn't look bad to me, but it doesn't look especially more show accurate because of the color choices they made.
Yeah.
And I just really find those black plastic parts kind of baffling, because Pterosaur didn't really have any black parts on him in the show at all.
No.
It still looks nice though, and like, you know, Pterosaur sold through pretty quick. That's how I recall on Amazon. It sold through pretty quick and has not been that easy to find. So like, it's a good option for people who didn't want the like super toy based one from Target last year.
Yeah.
I still don't think it's the ideal Pterosaur. I'm still very happy with the Golden Disc one for myself. Like, I think that turned out really nicely. So I don't really feel compelled toward this, but it's not a bad looking set. It just kind of misses the mark for me, which, you know, this Beast Wars versus line's kind of been that as much as it hasn't. It's just, sometimes they hit it really strong, like with Megatron and Black Arachnia, and the rest of the time it's just like, yep, that sure is a different way to interpret those toys, which are already pretty accurate.
Well, I'm just glad they're doing this as a 2-pack with these two characters, because I will buy it as Pack Rat and Fractal.
Yeah, hopefully that will actually happen at some point.
Yeah, because now that we know the set is being done together, everything's being gang molded together, they can just rerun it in the correct colors. That's what I want.
So Wheeljack just dropped some slightly off-topic news on us. Ripcord unlocked on the HasLab Dragonfly.
Nice.
There you go.
Okay, so what's the next unlock figure, Hasbro? Come on.
They'll tell you tomorrow.
They better.
Or maybe Friday. Yeah, I'm sure they will. I'm sure they will capitalize on this, and you know.
That's the first stretch goal, correct?
I believe so.
One of my friend on Twitter, Icon45, he's hoping for Doc or Lifeline as part of the set, because we haven't had either one of those, and we haven't had a medic in the main line at all.
Lifeline would make sense because they could, they got the hook on there for the winch.
Yeah, that's true. But who would be more iconic, Doc or Lifeline?
I think Lifeline.
Yeah, I associate Lifeline with G.I. Joe more than the idea of Doc. Like, if you would ask me to just name a G.I. Joe medic, Lifeline is what I would say before I would say Doc, oddly enough.
I think more people had the Lifeline figure because Doc was a mail away.
Well, there you go.
And what they need to do is Lifeline needs to come with a stretcher that hooks up to the helicopter that can raise and lower.
I mean, that would be nice. That might be a little bit much to ask for, a stretch goal figure, but you can always hope.
Yeah, all they have to do is the stretcher. They already got the winch on the helicopter.
Either that or they'll just repaint another figure that they've already released.
Yes. All right, so back to Tokyo Toy Show. No pictures. Takara Tomy did tease that Rhinox would be the next Beast Wars Masterpiece toy. Apparently what they showed was like an art asset for Rhinox's chain gun. So that's, pretty solid evidence right there.
Nice.
Yeah, Rhinox is going to be another one of those interesting engineering challenges, which I assume is going to make an absolutely terrible toy to actually interact with, but might look good in one mode at least.
Say, it's been a while since they've released a Beast Wars Masterpiece, hasn't it?
It has. I think Black Arachnia might have been the last one. Either that or Tigatron.
Well, they did the reissue of Primal, but the last new figure, I believe, was Black Arachnia.
Yeah.
I've had such bad luck with the Masterpiece Beast Wars figures that I just lost interest in them.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I'm not, as much as I love Beast Wars, I only have Primal and Tigatron. I just don't really want the Black Arachnia or the Rhinox at this point.
I was so jazzed up about Beast Wars Megatron as a masterpiece, and that was a beautiful, beautiful toy in hand, but I've told this story various times since then. Just so many of the parts are fragile. There's so much stress you have to put on different parts to transform it. For the amount of money that it cost, it was just too much of a nightmare that I was going to break something and that was going to be the end of it.
Well, sadly, that's any Masterpiece toy these days.
Yes, but
as much as I hate to say it, except for Skids, who's wonderful.
Yes, but Beast Wars Megatron was also almost $300, so amplify the fears. Mm-hmm. I mean, I know $300 is unfortunately not even that much of a high watermark for Masterpiece anymore, which is itself a condemnation. On the same subject, also without pictures, we have a teaser for, quote, new combination for the MPG line, which...
Does anyone think it's not going to be Devastator?
Actually, the current suspicion is that it might be Diaclone Raiden. Matt has raised his eyebrow intriguedly, or irately, I'm not sure which.
You have to buy that, Matt.
No, I don't think I do.
It's Diaclone.
Kilby has to buy it.
Okay.
We won't get our satisfaction from squeezing another $700 out of Kilby for these awful, awful toys. Just because they're Diaclone.
Here's the thing: the box will be a Diaclone box. It'll be a recreation of the Diaclone box.
That would be beautiful, though.
It would, and then Brian will buy it and hate himself for it.
Yeah. I feel so much better about this. Thank you, Don. No, so they displayed a silhouette that I guess looks like Raiden, but with extra cannon parts, which apparently is consistent with the Diaclone use of those toys.
Okay.
Even I can't convince myself to do this twice.
I'm glad. I'm glad for you that you actually have a limit when it comes to this.
But Matt's supposed to be our Diaclone guy, so he kind of has to.
Yes, but messing with these train bots is an awful experience.
But you could just leave them in the box. I mean, you can still get them.
I mean, I am legitimately a fan of the Headmasters. I've wanted a modern Raiden and train bots for 15 years. I'm not buying these damn toys in either format.
Well, Matt, you could always buy the last one if they do the same thing. That comes with the box. sell the figure and keep the box, and then put the box on display. Because I'm sure somebody who doesn't have the space for the box would want just a figure at a reduced price. So you buy it for $150, you sell the figure for $125, you lose $25, but you've got the box, and the other person saved money on the figure.
Okay, so by that logic, though, he could just get someone to do like a really high resolution scan of that final Diaclone box, get a high quality large print out of that, frame it, and put it on his wall, and that would be so much cheaper even than buying that 6 Diaclone train bot, selling the unwanted toy, and keeping the packaging and having to, you know, make 3-dimensional space for that. Like, this is just such a better idea to get literally a piece of wall art based on that. And if he doesn't want to wait, he could just get the high resolution scan of the original Diaclone box and put that on his wall.
The thing is, though, do you want it on your wall, or do you want to be able to pick it up and look at it and hold it and appreciate it in 3 dimensions?
So Matt,
if it's just a cardboard box, who cares?
So Matt, like,
I throw my boxes away.
Yeah, and I'm not singling you out with this question because we're all this way. I know it, but like the actual toys you have on your shelf, like I'm sure a few select pieces here and there you'll pick up and mess with on a semi-regular basis. But the majority of stuff, how often do you pick that up anyway? It might as well be hanging on the wall. Yeah, it might as well just be art hanging on your wall at that point, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Oh, here's another one for you, Matt. Our first leak of Legacy G2 Dead End.
I want it.
Bring it on.
Yes, nice. Gimme. But considering how Wave 2 of Walmart never materialized into existence physically, how hard is it to get this damn thing?
I think we're still due for a package refresh of Shadow Strip. So you should be able to get both of these at the same time.
I would hope.
I think.
Man, it's going to take us a while to get these G2, the full team, because these are just barely dripping out or trickling.
Yeah, I mean, I'm also concerned, like, where are they going to go with Motormaster? Who is going to take a, recolor commander toy like that?
That's going to have to be Selects.
Yeah, but as we were talking about earlier, like, Selects is a little gun-shy even on leader toys. I really can't see commander.
I think probably Walmart. Like, that could be like their Starscream and his throne box or whatever, and for whatever line they come next, they'll squeeze him in, because I think they're out of redeco options for G2 Prime now. So,
they can probably come up with something. Yeah, I mean, on that note too, I was disappointed those listings we talked about last week. I think with the Deluxe Optimus Prime in there, I was disappointed that seemed to specify G1, because like I was really hoping it was Sideswipe retool and it was G2 GoBot Optimus Prime.
I'd have bought that.
Yeah.
That's about the only way you're going to get me to buy Deluxe Optimus Prime, but...
Yeah. We have more in-hand photos of Legacy Shadow Striker, including side-by-side with an original Sideburn, which shockingly is actually bigger than Shadow Striker is.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because, I mean, Sideburn wasn't a big deluxe.
No, he was not. Pretty spindly.
Yeah. He's taller than the Shadow Striker, which is going to be unfortunate for when this does get reused as Sideburn at some point in the future. Yeah, I mean, in a vacuum, I'm not really down on the Shadow Striker. Like, it looks like a perfectly fine toy unto itself. I just am unsatisfied. I'm unsatisfied with it as Cyberverse Shadow Striker, and unsatisfied with it as BotCon Shadow Striker, because by trying to combine both ideas, it has done neither one of them well. Please, Selects, fix this problem in one way or the other. Super 7 showed off on their Instagram their Super Shogun G1 Megatron. So this is apparently 2 feet tall and does have the rocket fist.
Oh, dang.
Yeah. I imagine, it's going to be a price point commensurate with such things, and this is not my wheelhouse, but, like, I can dig a giant robot.
Let's see, can I get the picture to load? Instagram gives me... Okay, yeah, that looks pretty good.
Yeah. Maybe we can convince Kilby to buy this, too.
Yeah.
As we alluded to earlier, the game tie-ins keep coming with Transformers and Rocket League. So a Bumblebee-inspired car is going to be added to the roster, and there will be other elements like music effects, goal special effects, and like victory poses that you can buy to go with it. But, in practice, it's still just going to be a Rocket League car.
Yeah. Still, it's like the closest to appropriate I think we've gotten in the Transformers game tie-in lately. So
yeah, before we started streaming, you had made the comparison to World of Warships.
Yeah, which had Transformers riding ships at one point for reasons.
For reasons. Well, the same kind of for reasons as Optimus Prime is in Fortnite.
Yeah,
at the same scale as everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
Diecast, what is this thing you're putting in the show notes?
This is a YOLO Park G1 Megatron that they actually list as a model kit, but they're more of like a Build-A-Figure. Like you put the torso and the waist and the legs and the arms and the head on, and you have your figure. They made 3 of these for Rise of the Beasts, and this one is a or a Kickstarter type thing. It actually is on Kickstarter. It's above the goal. It's got 10 days to go, and it's only $50, and they look like great figures. I actually ordered the other 3. But I really want some G1 ones also. So like this, if they do a Megatron and this is successful, maybe they'll do an Optimus Prime. It comes with weapons.
20 centimeters tall is pretty substantial too.
Yeah, this is kind of what I wanted like Red to be. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
I mean, it's a different price point. It's $50.
You wanted it to be high quality, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I wanted it to be an actual decent action figure instead of something I wanted to throw in the trash. I'm all about this. I really hope this does well, and if you want to back it, go on Kickstarter, and it's under G1 Megatron Model Kit. And you can find it there, and it even has diecast parts. So I think it's going to be a really decent action figure and posable and fun. And like I said, the model kit, don't let that scare you. It's more of a Build-A-Figure.
Wheeljack64 is saying from what he hears, they still feel like model kits.
Fair.
Okay.
So certain amount of fragility to it. That's good to know.
Yeah, but I'll actually, as soon as I get those other 3, I'll be able to have something to compare it to. I just don't know when they're going to be here.
All right, yeah. And then our last item, and boy, this is something else. Is this possibly the single most expensive licensed Transformers merchandise ever? Cross Studio has announced their Rise of the Beast collector set. And if you're not familiar, and I would not be surprised if you aren't, Cross makes watches, high-end watches.
Yeah.
So this is a Transformers tie-in watch with like a display case loosely based on AirRaiser as her bird mode appeared in the movie. This precision engineered high quality watch based on the press release they sent out, I believe has a price of 98,000 Swiss francs, which Google tells me is approximately $111,000.
Wow.
$111,000.
I almost bought this until I saw the conversion, and I was like,
okay, that's a little better than how I was. When you said you almost bought this, I was just sitting here like contemplating that life no longer had any meaning.
So what do you think, Don? PayPal paying for?
Paying 40? Paying 400? It's just I just don't have the time for this right now.
Yeah, you wouldn't. You're not going to live long enough for that.
And
Don,
I mean, for the bird watcher in your life.
Yeah, but I mean, here's the thing though. It's not something to get me wound up, you know.
Stop it, Don. No, but I mean, I didn't realize the case was the actual like AirRaiser artifact from the movie. That's kind of cool. That maybe adds about $100 value onto what I expected was going to be like a $300 watch.
As it turns out, the Swiss franc actually has like a very solid value to it compared to the US dollar.
Yeah, I did not realize that this would be like a Rolex priced watch. And my question...
Do Rolexes even cost this much?
I don't know. I just know Rolexes are expensive.
When you showed this to us on our internal mailing list, and Kilby said, watches are expensive. Like, Kilby is absolutely right. High-end watches are an expensive thing. And these days, like, even the genuine consumer base that actually wants those high-end watches and can afford them can't even really get them because there's, like, a whole scalping thing going on with that. But, like, I still feel like this, $100,000+ watch is even kind of pushing it too.
Well, who wants $100,000+ Transformers watch? I mean, I can understand.
This is like last week with, what golf playing Transformers fan wants, Transformers themed golf accoutrement.
Yeah, exactly.
Manny Cara says Rolex's average like 30,000, which that's kind of what I was thinking. So I don't doubt, especially, being a Swiss product, that this brand of watches are amazing pieces of, handcrafted machinery. I cannot remotely comprehend spending the price of a small house on a wristwatch.
No, this was more than my Corvette. Easy.
Yeah, that's like 2.5 of your Corvette, I think.
Yeah. It's
up there.
It's about 30.
Your Corvette
grand.
wasn't cheap.
Yeah, it's about 20 grand more than my Corvette.
Okay, fine.
So
trying to give you the benefit of the doubt here, but
yeah.
I mean, if Cross came to them and said, "Here's a bunch of licensing money," Hasbro really would say, "Okay."
Because, sure.
Yeah, because Hasbro
You're
does
probably
could use some extra cash right now.
Well, even if it was not a situation of like, we need to inject some capital in here, like anytime a licensee wants to come up and be like, we would like to put your stuff on our product, how much do you need for that? We make watches that sell for $100,000 each. We can afford you.
Yeah,
name your price, basically.
It's one of those things. It's like those of us here and those of us in the Discord and those of us that watch and listen to us, we are collectors. We understand the value of exclusivity. But when you get to a certain... I thought you were going to say we
understand the value of $1, which is a big fat lie.
Well, but here the thing is, even we as a collective group of collectors cannot imagine who this is for and who's going to buy it. If anyone listens to this and you buy this thing, contact one of us on Twitter and give us some information.
I don't even think we ever heard from the statue buying people.
I know.
Much more than we're going to hear from watch buying.
I know. It's just there's no frame of reference for this.
Yeah, Don's absolutely right. This is 100,000% outside of our experience.
I mean, how many Unicron lamps is this? I mean, really? Really? Think
How
about
much were the Unicron lamps?
Like 90.
Well, every one I have on my watch list on eBay is about $7.99 to $9.99 plus $200 to $400 shipping. So let's just say
90 of them.
Yeah, $800, $900 a piece, bare minimum.
Yeah,
that's
90 of them.
90 Unicron lamps in a room is equivalent to one watch.
Okay, the difference there, though, Don, I think, is if you took that same amount of money and bought 90 Unicron lamps and put them in your house, your wife would murder you. The watch, you would spend the same amount of money, but you can hide that a lot easier.
And then when she found it, she would kill me not only for spending the money, but for not telling her.
Yeah.
So I died twice.
Yeah. Well, you may only live once, but you can die twice.
I'm gonna wait for the Target clearance on this.
That company probably doesn't know the meaning of the word clearance.
So, just like Porsche with their $100 Transformers caps.
Yeah.
Whatever that was.
That looks like a bargain.
Are there?
Comparatively.
Are they making some serious assumptions about us because we are actually making the effort to keep up with these toy releases?
I also pondered the idea. They called this a 10-piece set in the press release. I did wonder if that means, did they only make 10 of these watches?
I suspect that is what that would mean.
Yeah.
That's what I thought too.
Here's something Hasbro, because we know that Hasbro does listen to a lot of podcasts. If they just offer the watch housing, just that Air Razor statuette.
Oh, that thing.
Yeah, just offer that as a tie-in memorabilia.
Yeah, they probably have that for like 20,000, 25,000.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying if
I have a feeling that will, that one could end up at like some kind of prop replica house for significantly less.
Yeah,
eventually.
but I'm saying make a version of that if the licensing agreement would allow it, because the consumer base for Hasbro, us, is not really interfering with the consumer base of Cross. So anyone buying that watch is not buying it mostly for that Air Razor statuette as the housing. So they can make that on a level for us to buy, again, depending on the licensing arrangements, that would not interfere with Cross's selling their 10 units.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm sure I'm sure like I would not be surprised if they do not have an exclusive license for like the whole design, for the like statue part. I'm sure the watch is them, just like they probably provided the prop for the movie on the contingency that they were allowed to sell $1 million worth of them apparently. But in terms of the actual statue part, I can see that we could probably get that separately somewhere down the line.
This is so absurd.
It is.
It is.
So as
nobody tell Boomer he bought actual last night props at one point.
Okay, there's a difference between buying actual props and this.
I mean, price-wise, yes. He, compared to this, he got a deal.
But conceptually, too, if he bought actual props from the filming of a movie, that's a completely different thing than buying a replica of one of the props from this movie that is an accessory, essentially, to a $111,000 watch.
Yeah.
My friend Fred bought a V pistol, one of the mid-distance props from the V miniseries, and that was not cheap. And that was
or the remake?
The original.
Oh, cool.
That was several years ago, and that wasn't cheap then. So, I mean, there's no frame of reference for this. It's absolutely outlandish.
Yeah. No, I mean, this is something we just don't really have the faculties or the finances to comprehend. So as we segue into what we got this week, I do have a question from the Discord for Diecast. Manny Kara asks, did Diecast Corvette pre-order ever get delivered?
Yes, I put pictures in the chat. But I had it pre-ordered with like 6 or 7 different dealers.
Did you cancel the other pre-orders?
All but one. Yeah.
Don's face right now.
I still have an E-Ray on order.
I feel like Diecast, you are as close to the $100,000 watch stratum as any of us are ever going to get.
Yeah.
Forgot to cancel. Pre-ordered an extra car. That is definitely a level. That is definitely getting.
It's going to come from Taobao, and it's going to be missing a wheel.
Oh, that would be funny.
Yeah, whatever else you can say about Diecast, we can all agree on one thing, which is that we'll never have the credit rating he does. All right. So for what we got this week, I'm going to go first because I have one thing and it's current and relevant. I got Legacy Armada Megatron.
Nice.
Ooh.
Congratulations.
My local store actually had some.
What local store? Was that a Target or a Walmart?
Walmart.
Really?
Yeah, these are showing up in Walmarts.
Nice.
Is he? How do you like him, Chris? Because I can't. After what I saw a video on him on YouTube, and I canceled my pre-order because it's like it's the same toy, just smaller without the same gimmicks, and it's
Well, Don, it's the same toy but smaller and without any of the gimmicks.
And with hip articulation, I hope.
It has full proper leg articulation. Like, as a visual homage, I guess, to the Armada toy, it is very, very good at replicating that look. Like, it nails the appearance of Armada Megatron. The tank mode is fantastic for that. With the exception of like the fake track along the one tread, having only one orange arm painted on. Which, as this has been getting into people's hands, was an observed thing. I figured out, having this in hand myself, why that was. Like, the package art shows, it's the thing that on the original Armada Megatron is the flip out little launch track thing for a minicon. On here it's just a molded in element, but half of it is unpainted. So what ended up happening is that half of the tread block, one half on each side, is unpaintable plastic now.
Oh, okay.
So it's not that the factory made a mistake or made a decision necessarily without Hasbro's input. The material changed at some point between when they were doing the deco design for this and when it was actually produced. Probably because of a fragility issue, because that part has to interface with a big transformation hinge. And I suspect if both ends of that were ABS, or even if this big flat panel was ABS, there would probably be stress breakage issues from the way you have to move this part to transform the toy. So that was probably an unavoidable necessity. Now, on the opposite side, there's the fake 3 panels that open up on the original Megatron to reveal additional minicon hard points, I think. That's on here and painted in full, but those panels on here are part of the ABS half of the tread block. It extends over onto the top surface. I suspect they figured out the ABS versus nylon problem on this too late in the process to change that mold. Otherwise, I think they would have had the track on the right-hand side do the piece on the left side and be all from the ABS side and just overlap onto the unpaintable plastic. But probably it was too late to do that and too expensive that if they had to add a new nylon parts tree, it would be too expensive to go back into the otherwise perfectly functional ABS parts tree and make the modification. So unfortunately, we're just kind of stuck with this. Now, it is possible to paint over nylon with consumer level hobby paints. Some prep work on the surface probably will have to be done first to make sure it adheres as well as it can. But since this is kind of isolated in the tank mode and not really seen from the front in robot mode at all, I don't think paint matching will be a problem because you can just paint over both halves of that to make sure you have those two parts be the same orange. I think this is consumer fixable, and possibly even Toy Hacks, when they do a sticker sheet for this, can probably just make a piece to go over that so that at least from the top down, it looks like it should. Now, in terms of functionality of the toy, I'm actually really satisfied with the quality control, the tolerances of the joints and everything. All the fittings are very tight, very secure, very snug. The leg joints have ratcheting in them, so they will hold their position pretty strongly. The detailing, the color work overall is all really good. it's a good blend between what the original toy looked like and the appearance in the cartoon to some extent. That's especially true in like the face sculpt. That is 100% the cartoon and not the toy. Um, One functional problem I do have is the antler pieces need to be glued in. They're just pegged in. They're softer plastic. They will fall out of the head with if you're not careful turning the head, posing it, manipulating it around. They will fall out of there. Things pop back in, but like a little bit of glue will solve that problem really easily. My big hang up with this though is the arm posability because it's like with Legacy Laser Prime, the shoulder treads are fixed in position. They don't rotate like on the original toy. There's a panel that flips up in front to permit the arms to swing forward, which just on the surface of it, I don't really like that approach because it kind of just it looks untidy. It breaks up the line of the arm. And on this, it has the added effect of the arms cannot articulate backwards at all. The shoulders stop just straight up and down with the line of the toy. And like I don't know how you guys do with your just like at ease posing. I like to have the arms kicked back on my figures a little bit. It looks a little bit more natural for the shoulders to point back, the elbows to be bent a little bit, so they don't look just like straight up and down statues. And you can't really do that with this. Like that's the one design fault I really have with this. Now, Don's right. This is a smaller version of the original Armada Megatron. It does not have any of the gimmicks. It has more posability, basically. The arm thing's not great, but it's not a disaster. It can do the thing where the turret flips around to the front. It can't spin around full 360, but they did design it so like it will go 90 degrees to the left and a little bit more to the right because for the original toy and the portrayal in the cartoon, Megatron's cannon was usually pointed down at a diagonal angle over his right hip. And this can do that. It's got exactly enough range to do that just right. So, like, they nailed all of the visual things they needed to with this, all of the, you know, character appropriate elements of this. They have it here. Whether you feel like paying, almost $60 for a smaller version of a $25 toy from 20 years ago that does way, way fewer things, but is posable and looks like the cartoon that I'm sure a lot of our audience watched as kids and have their specific memories of, that's going to be on you to make that call. But like, I think they did a really good job taking the look and feel of Armada Megatron as a character and representing it in this toy. It's not a replacement for the original Armada toy. If you want the things that can do this is never going to be that. But like, if you want Armada Megatron the character as a modern quality toy, this does that. Like, no question at all. It's a really solid. It's chunky. It's good size, and on mine, the quality control is just great. Like, I'm really happy with how this turned out. I wish of just a couple little things with it had been designed differently, but overall, I think this has turned out really well. And for the first new leader mold I've bought since Legacy began, I think this was a pretty good one to jump back on the price point with. But that's all I got this week.
Nice.
Oh yeah, and it doesn't have any Minicon hard points on that. That was a thing that Wheeljack64 and I were talking about this afternoon too. None of the Armada updates in Legacy so far have had Minicon hard points except for Hotshot, which just had the one. So, I mean, that's kind of a missed opportunity. And on Megatron, at least, like, a lot of the places where I know Minicon hard points were in the original toy are 5mm ports now. So you can plug stuff into there, but if you have Minicons, like, there's no way to connect them because that's a female-to-female connection. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Don, why don't you go next?
Okay, thanks. Two shout outs first. Big shout out to Paladin and Matt. They got me some nice birthday gifts off my Amazon list, Amazon Don's list. Paladin got me Core Thundercracker, which I sincerely appreciate. I forgot to bring him down with me, but I really appreciate that. Matt got me off my Amazon list the Terror That Flaps in the Night.
Ooh,
nice. the Q-Fig Darkwing Duck. I've been looking for it for a while. Everywhere that wasn't sold out was absolutely astronomical. And I was just about ready to pull the trigger, and Matt got it for me. So, Matt, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Not quite sure why you sent me the Gas X. Christy got a kick out of that.
He has a gas gun.
Yeah,
I got that, but she didn't. She doesn't know the context, and she said, "Honey, why did Matt send you Gas X?" I said, "He sent me
because
what?"
he cares.
Yeah.
Yes, from Matt.
I believe we were talking about sending you Gas X last week.
Yes,
too.
and Matt,
And Brian put it on the list, so I sent it to him.
yes. So, but I really appreciate this. It looks great. I wish I could buy the Negaduck figure, but the Negaduck version is about $60 if anyone has it. So it's like,
Wow.
I am fine with this, but this is great. Thank you very much. What I picked up this week was a very eclectic mix again. My one obligatory Star Wars purchase for the year, I picked up the Vintage Collection speeder bike and Scout Trooper. Target ran them on sale for $30, which is $15 off retail. Plus, I had a little partial bit of a gift card left, so I got them for like $25. So, that's my obligatory Star Wars purchase for the year. I got some. I don't know which Iron Man this is, but it was on clearance on Amazon. It's the red and gold, a variation of that, and it was cheap, and I don't have it, so I got it.
I think that's the Alex Ross designed armor.
Okay, all right. I knew it looked familiar, but I couldn't quite place other than just it was the classic red and gold in some fashion. But it was like $16 the free shipping, so I figured I'd go and get it as my Iron Man collection. After talking to Brian last week, I found a seller that had the heavy artillery roadblock, which looks a lot better than the one I got from Target.
The real roadblock.
Yeah, the real one. So I will be taking the other one back to Target because it just does not look near as good as that. Also, a few weeks ago, I forgot to mention this, and I think Hank has knocked it off somewhere. But I got the Optimus Primal Battle Master, the one that turns into a gun. I found it when I went to the sushi place a few weeks ago. I haven't had a chance to open it up, but I thought it'd be kind of cool. Optimus Prime wielding Optimus Primal in gun mode. And the last thing I got this week was from Shozy Store. I got Magic Square Swindle, the next part of their Bruticus at the Legend scale class.
Nice. All right, Matt.
I don't believe I got anything.
Matt, you had one job.
Yeah. And I failed. Yeah.
Rob.
Okay. I have some things this week. Almost entirely thanks to other people. The only thing I think I bought for myself is a replacement pressure cooker since Instant Pot just declared bankruptcy. I kind of wanted to make sure I could get a replacement for the one I had before, they were not available anymore. Anyway, yeah, that's what I bought for myself. What I got from other people for my birthday, which is next Friday, off my wish list at tfradio.net/playlist.
Also, Don got his wrong too. It's tfradio.net/Don list.
Yes, it is.
Sorry, I keep wanting to do it as the Massey Attack list that I have, and I keep flubbing it.
Yeah. But I got, this is kind of funny. I got the Playmates Data and Con action figures from both Wheeljack 64 and Diecast. They have to have ordered them at exactly the same moment. They're just like, I don't think there's like any other way that could have worked. So, thank you both guys. I passed these extra set on to my brother because
that's good.
He got rid of all his Star Trek figures a long time ago. So, yeah, and he had some of the stuff I didn't. He had the shuttlecraft, he had the transporter set, and
I guess when I go around with Hey Mickey to the antique malls and stuff and see all the Star Trek figures I already have, I should start buying a few extras for Jay.
If you would not be a bad idea, and also if you see a Wave 1 Worf, I need a Worf in a uniform that matches this Data and all the other,
just basic uniform Worf.
Yeah. Because I have season 1 Worf, and that's it's like the only season 1 figure on the bridge. So
yeah, so I remember collecting those originally. Worf in both the uniform variants was actually kind of harder to find for some reason. Like Troy in the first figure was
It's
the
honorable
hardest-
to be short packed.
Yeah, I mean, I think Troy legitimately was short pack. I think Worf
Oh, yeah.
might have been popular. I don't know, but like I remember having trouble finding that in the gold or the red uniform when those respective figures came around.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm sorry. Please continue.
No, but no, that's what I remember too. Worf, Data, and Troy were the ones from the first wave that were hard to get. And yeah, Jay got Data, so I wound up with a season 1 Worf and Data later on.
I'm sorry, I have to interrupt you again. Blade Raider just said, "I'm so glad I didn't buy you that Data and Con now. I started to check out and it said it was bought."
Oh, thank goodness!
You almost ended up with 3 of them.
Oh, that would have been great.
What the
Well, they didn't have a lore.
I guess
guess.
technically, yeah. Although I still have the original lore, so
Yeah, in the Packwood suit.
yeah. I also got from Paladin the second volume of the Dragon Quest Monsters manga. So, thank you for that, Paladin. I really appreciate it. That's not bad. It's art by the person who did Sergeant Frog, who is a pretty solid artist. It's just such a weird thing in practice because it is an adaptation of a 1999 Game Boy game made off of the 2012 3DS remake and then issued in the US in 2019, even though the 3DS remake never came over here.
As you do.
Yeah, like makes no sense whatsoever. And also it looks like they published all of it and yet they stopped Adventures of Dai at volume 5, and now I'm just really confused. And Adventures of Dai actually had an anime tie-in last year and is going to have a game tie-in this year's. So get yourselves together, Viz. But
Yeah.
no. And then the last thing I got was Matt sent me Mazinger Edition Z, the Impact, known as Shin Mazinger back when it ran on Blu-ray, which is a really great series. Really well animated. Another thing that the director of G Gundam did, kind of in the same style as his Giant Robo, just taking a bunch of characters from a whole bunch of different Go Nagai stories and making one semi-cohesive thing, which never got an ending because I don't know why. But yeah, it just like stops about where Great Mazinger would begin, and that's it. But still a great series I haven't seen in a long time, and I really appreciate it, Matt. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And it is, as you suggested, it is on the stack upstairs with all the other anime series I have yet to watch. So, it is in its rightful place, and one day I will invent spare time and actually watch things. But that is, I'm pretty sure, everything I got this week. If I missed anything, I apologize. I will remember to mention it next week.
Well, that just leaves Diecast.
Well, I was so excited about the movie, I decided to get Studio Series Air Razor. So that came in the day before the sale, where I could have got it for 35% off on Hasbro Pulse. But I did order and receive today from that sale. I got another Light Bright, the Transformers one, because I noticed in the comments that someone said that even though they only show like Optimus Prime, the Autobot symbol, and a Bumblebee head, that there are actually instructions in there for a Soundwave and possibly something else. So I thought it would be cool to do. I think I want to do the Optimus Prime head and either like a Megatron head or a Soundwave head as a second option, because I don't know if you remember that Light Bright was originally $100, which I bought, and now they're $50, and if you get it on the sale, 35% off of that.
There's some good stuff in that sale.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Guardian robots. Did you buy a Guardian robot?
Yes, I did. It didn't come yet.
So did I.
But I bought one.
Yeah,
I'm resisting.
It shipped out today.
And
Well, as a premium member, I got the 35% off, and it came down to $130.
Yeah, I know.
And that sale is running for like 2 or 3 weeks. So...
Yeah, and somehow the Guardian robots are still in stock, which surprised me.
And
Yeah.
I believe last year, like a week or so in, they added more products to it.
That's what I was going to
think
say.
so.
That's what I'm hoping for, where they add some additional stuff in a week or two. That would be really awesome. And then the only other thing I got, which is thanks to Chris, I got the Cinemark Optimus Prime popcorn holder. And it's sitting on my shelf upstairs, so my cat doesn't jump on the shelf anymore. So
it's a scare cat.
Yeah. But that thing's pretty cool. I really like it. I almost think I like that better than the truck from AMC.
I mean, they're comparable in one sense, but in another, not at all.
Yeah.
Mind if I chime in with a couple things about it? Because you reminded me I got that too.
Yeah.
I actually was about to ask you if yours ever shipped.
Yeah, that's what my brain was trying to scrape up, that I was sure I'd forgotten something. That's it. I got Optimus Prime's hollowed out skull to put popcorn in. It in typical fashion for this kind of thing, it has light up eyes, but because the gray plastic is, on the relatively thin side, it's kind of got a light up face, which is what my dad said when I turned it on. It's like, oh, his face lights up. That wasn't quite the intent, but yes.
I mean, just look at how his face lights up when he murders people.
Oh yeah, but maybe once it's full, that it would be slightly less obvious. But
so what I've seen of that, it looks like the light comes in through a window on the bottom, and all the electronics are in a chamber underneath.
Yes,
so it seems like when it's full, the light wouldn't even get to the eyes.
You've got a point. So
yeah.
Okay, yeah, so just one of those things. It's also a little bit smaller than I was anticipating on the show last week, because I was like, they said it holds 85 ounces. That's a lot of popcorn.
Yeah, I kind of assumed they meant 85 ounces volumetrically, which is not an insignificant amount, but it's a lot less than you would have been thinking.
Yeah, it does not hold like half a bag of Kmart popcorn.
Right.
So, but yeah.
Do you still have Kmart popcorn in your house?
No, I mean, which is good, because hasn't been Kmart's for years.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I miss Kmart popcorn now.
Although, I mean, I assume just unpopped dry popcorn would probably be shelf stable for a very long time.
Probably. But yeah, Matt Guzzi actually told me on Twitter that they typically measure popcorn buckets in volumetric ounces. So yeah, so that's just something I couldn't know, because I don't order popcorn buckets on a regular basis.
I had been thinking that, but every time it came up, I would not remember to mention it until like a couple hours after the show.
Yeah.
So I was having the equivalent of our Thursday news problem, except with filling you in about how popcorn works.
Yeah.
Which is a really weird sentence now that I've said it, but there we are.
Yeah, but it is still a really really good size, and I like it. And thank you for letting me talk about it, Diecast, since I totally forgot I got it until you mentioned it.
Oh, no problem.
Anything else there, Diecast?
No, that's it.
Wow, imagine that. I was hoping you still had something, because I need to open our credits page so I can thank our patrons at the touch tier.
What else did you get from the Hasbro Pulse sale there, Diecast? Besides Guardian Robot.
I got Guardian Robot, the Light Bright. I got another Sergeant Slaughter. I got another Troop Builder G.I. Joe figure. I feel like I'm forgetting something.
Well, I mean, you'll probably remember for next week's show when the stuff actually arrives.
Yeah.
We'll go over all this again. This is not preempting you getting to talk about this stuff when Brian's back next week.
I'm just trying to buy Exvee some time.
Yeah, I kind of figured, and I do appreciate that. But yeah, so our show is brought to you largely by our patrons, tfradio.net/Patreon or patreon.com/tfradio, whichever one gets you to the same place. We appreciate and adore our patrons at any tier that they sign up at. Everybody who contributes to that helps us to keep the show going out on the internet. All of our patrons get some basic perks. They get an ad-free version of the podcast. On the public feed, we have automatically inserted pre-roll and post-roll ads on every podcast episode. If you're a patron, you have a Patreon exclusive podcast feed with versions of the episode that do not have that attached. So that's a pretty good perk right there. Patrons also get the podcast in their feed a day before it goes out to the public feed. So say the podcast gets done and published on Friday. You'll get that on Friday, and the public feed won't get that until Saturday. Now, it could be Friday night when you get it, and it will still go out Saturday morning to the public feed. You get the day before, not 24 hours before. But you will get a little bit earlier than everybody else. The patron exclusive version of the podcast comes in a higher bit rate, so a little bit better audio quality than the public feed. You also exclusively get the pre-show podcast. We did record a full pre-show podcast this week. I'm not going to say it's our best pre-show ever, but we definitely did record one. Also, patrons get access to unedited episodes of RFC. So if Brian has cause to do a content edit on the episode for a given week, you will have access to the unedited version and the edited version if you prefer not to hear Don curse up a blue streak. Another Patreon perk is getting the History on the Fives podcast a week early. History on the Fives is Rob's podcast with some of our touch level patrons where they talk about things that happened in Transformers history 5, 10, 15 years ago, something like that.
That's the one.
And yeah, if you're a touch patron, you can actually get on the podcast with Rob and the gang. Just sign up at the touch tier and then reach out to Kilby either through Patreon messaging, through our email address. Just reach out to Kilby somehow and they'll get set up for you. And of course, our touch patrons get mentioned on the show every week, and they are listed full-time at tfradio.net/credits. So this week, I would like to thank our touch patrons Kevin Dorsey, AJ, Eric Griffin, Tyrell Gwynn, Rick Mahurin, Ryan Bona, Emmett Sresovich, Rabbits, Hector Bones, Ness, Joey Russell, Sean Williamson, Spider Bob, Jay Klein Rye, Sean Hamilton, Jacob Owen Lutia, Sean Bratton, Jason Hiley, TJ Petrucci, sorry. Well, I mean, Kilby's learned to say that right now, so it makes sense that the first time I do that, I'd have to get it wrong at least once. So hopefully we've turned that corner. And I believe new to us this week is Hypershouta as a touch patron, so welcome. So thank you all so much for being our patrons. Thanks to everybody at our non-touch tier. We appreciate you just as much. If you would like to contribute to the ongoing production of the show without joining our Patreon, you can help us out through our Amazon affiliate link, tfradio.net/Amazon. Anything you buy on Amazon, once you go through our link, we'll send a little referral money back to us. All of our respective wish list links will do the same thing. We get a little bit of referral money for anything you buy off of there. And it contributes more than you think it does. Amazon referral fees aren't what they used to be, but like volume makes up for that. And anything you buy, you won't notice any difference in your pricing or anything else about it, but it will benefit us a little bit. So if you're going to do some shopping on Amazon, please consider us when you're making your decisions. You can find all of our podcast episodes and things of that nature at tfradio.net. We have an archive going back well over 20 years at this point, and I just feel so old. So old. I've been there since the beginning, which is just startling. You can find us on Twitter at tfradio. We're on Facebook, Instagram, we're on YouTube, of course. You're probably watching our live stream on YouTube right now if you're watching us live, because I don't think Diecast is streaming to Twitch for us. So
No.
If you are watching us live, you're watching on YouTube. If you're listening to the podcast version and you want to catch the show live as we record every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, go subscribe to us on YouTube. I am not exactly sure. I think it's youtube.com/Radio Free Cybertron. But if you just search for Radio Free Cybertron on YouTube, you will find our channel. So you can go and subscribe to us. When the option is available, because it's not always, because YouTube is silly about this, when the option is available, hit the notification bell so that you will get an inbox or a push notification when the live stream starts, because we don't put up placeholder stream events anymore. We've had some technical difficulties relating to that, so now we just go live and the episode is there when we start broadcasting. But if you want to be notified of when we start, you'll definitely want to be subscribed and have your notifications turned on for us. You can also find us basically on any podcast aggregator of your choice. We are pretty literally everywhere. And I don't think Brian has asked for this in quite a while, but like if your podcast provider gives you the option to leave podcast reviews, like, take a couple minutes and write a polite review about us. Leave us 5 stars. It does help to broaden our exposure. Probably not quite in the same way that doing subscriptions and thumbs up and things on YouTube helps its algorithm, but like the more 5-star reviews we have, the better it is for us, and the more reach we have, and that only makes everything better. So if you could take a couple minutes out to do that on your podcast aggregator, that would be great too. See, John DeLuna is not here with us on a regular basis. You can find him on the internet at that John D. Rob Springer is not with us on the podcast, but you can check him out at zonebase.org or at RoboRobSpringer. And also check out his podcast, Transform Squadron, which I am not off the top of my head sure when the next episode is due. I would assume sometime in the next couple of weeks. We might be between cycles right now. I'm really not sure. It's always a pleasant surprise when Brian tells us at the end of an episode Rob's podcast got updated. So we're probably due for that pretty soon. So check out Rob's stuff. Between his website, his Twitter, and his podcast, like Rob is into all kinds of like interesting niche things, and like there's always something that's going to be of interest in whatever he is talking about on any given day. And then Brian Kilby, when he's around, you can find his work at briankilby.com. And his Twitter, last I knew, was still active again at bkilby. And he is, of course, threatening us as he does every year with the Christmas album upcoming. And I guess it's going to be mostly original work this year, which perhaps is more cause for fear than ever. So, go check him out. You can find me in our Discord server, tfradio.net/Discord. It's pretty much the place to get in touch with me on the internet. I don't really use my Twitter that much anymore. And for interacting with, like-minded enthusiasts, Transformers fans, Star Trek fans, just general, like, hobby nerdery, like, I love our Discord crowd for that. They are a great bunch of people. We have all kinds of interesting conversations. I mean, at least I think they're interesting. Not just about Transformers or Star Trek, like just any kind of weird subject that kind of crosses our brains. Like we're just as likely to sit there and talk for 20 or 30 minutes about whatever subject. Like it's a really cool place to hang out. It's got a good energy. It's not like super active where you'll struggle to keep up with it. It's just a very chill environment to hang out with other fans who probably will have kind of the same bent on things you do. So I highly recommend that. If you want to check out the work I've done on the internet, you can go to playwithphotography.com. That's got my photo gallery, some articles I've written. If you would like to do me a random act of kindness through the Amazon affiliate program, I have a wish list at tfradio.net/chrislist, which, as I mentioned earlier, will benefit the show through any purchases. Rob, why don't you go next, because yours is the next longest.
Okay. I'm on Twitter at Rob Flails, which is the Twitter for Flail Throughs, my YouTube channel. Right now, that is still Gundam Battle Operation 2, which is finally available on Steam for those who want to try it. And seems to be working out some bugs still, but it's getting there. And the PlayStation Network version is still a good couple of months ahead of the Steam version, so every Thursday morning you can see what's been added to the game on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/flailthroughs. If you go to patreon.com/flailthroughs, you can offer me money in exchange for requests of specific mobile suits in specific rounds, weapons, etc. And if you feel like it, my birthday is next week, and the Amazon wishlist is tfradio.net/playlist. And thank you again to everybody who has grabbed me something so far. I really do appreciate it.
Diecast.
You can follow me on Twitter at Diecast2. You can like all my review, or you can like my Facebook page at Reviews by Diecast, and you can see my reviews at tfradio.net/reviews. And as soon as I get those YOLO Park figures in model kits that are kind of like Build-A-Figures, I'm definitely going to do at least one of those, probably the Optimus Primal. So look out for that review.
And Don.
I can be found on Twitter at HMRC, the number 4 EVR. As I mentioned, I do have a wish list at Amazon. See, I'm doing it again. Amazon.com/Don.
No, tfradio.net/Don list.
Yeah, thank you, Rob. Sorry. I've added some things lately. If anyone would like to get me something, I sincerely appreciate it. I did remove the sideboards and hutches, just in case anyone thought I was looking for a sideboard or a hutch. I was not.
But did you add more gas X after Matt bought you some?
No. He got me the economy size, so I think I'm good for a while.
Okay.
Did Christy add more after I got it for you?
I don't think so, but I'm sure it depends on how things go, if she will or not. But
I'm just saying, she personally thanked me for that.
I know she did. Don't know why though. I think she's just being weird, I think. But I have added some small things like the Cops Complete series. Small things I've been keeping my eye on. If anyone does want to get me anything, I do sincerely appreciate it. But that's pretty much it.
All right. I think that'll do it for us this week. Thank you all for being here. It's been a longer episode than the average, but I was hosting, so what else is new? Anyway, Brian should be back next week with operations back to normal, and we'll see you next time.
Take care.
Take care, everybody.
Recording stopped.
And there we go.
Any audio problems on my side?
Nope.
No.
Excellent. Yes, thank you for jumping in with that save, Matt.
Not a problem. They had some good stuff on that sale.
Yeah.
Like seriously, like they got I picked up the Marvel Legends